Capitol and our democracy. Thank you, Senator Warner.
Well, thank you, Chair Klobuchar. And first of all, let me echo what I said on our last hearing. I want to thank you and Ranking Member Blunt for the way that you've conducted both the initial investigation and how the Rules Committee has really stepped up in terms of the assessment of making sure we protect the Capitol and on an ongoing basis. So thank both of you. I also want to highlight to Chief Manger, at least to see you remotely. We had the opportunity to work together when I was governor and you were chief in Fairfax, and people still talk about your praises. We went through, as you may recall, those challenging 3 weeks plus of the sniper incidents that terrorized, frankly, the whole region. But I know you are the right person for at this critical moment in terms of the evolution and direction of the Capitol Police. I want to pick up as Chair Klobuchar just indicated, and Senator Blunt's line of questioning about the structure. I know you're about to name this new deputy chief who will be take on that role of intelligence. Could you expand that a little bit? When do you expect to name that individual? And also talk to us about, the intelligence functions of the Capitol Police. Will they be mostly receiving intelligence from other entities rather than doing your own intelligence work? Will you pursue, if there is indication of some kind of organized threat, will you pursue that versus FBI? Talk me through a little bit more of the role and structure of this intelligence unit.
Yes, sir. First, we have, you may be aware that we did have a civilian director of intelligence on January 6th. That person left in the weeks following the 6th. So we've been doing a nationwide search. We're going to make a final selection in the next couple of weeks, and my hope is that we have someone in place shortly thereafter. We have a very competent acting director in place now. I think the changes that we've made in the way we gather, share, disseminate intelligence, there's been a lot of changes, but the big thing is how we use intelligence. One of the problems, of course, on the 6th was that we had information and it wasn't acted upon. And intelligence is the only use that real intelligence is if it's actionable and it can actually help you formulate your plan in terms of how you're going to deal with a situation. So we have now, which we did not have on the 6th, we have our own intelligence analysts. We put 9 new ones in place in the last few months that have the same training as an FBI analyst, as a Homeland Security analyst. So we're speaking their language. We're sharing information. We've got people embedded in the FBI, embedded with DHS, and we've got our task force officers on different task forces with the FBI. So we're actually now plugged in to all the places we need to be plugged into, but we are also doing, while we are still sharing information and getting information from Homeland Security and FBI, we're not just totally dependent on them anymore. We have our own folks that are also doing research and doing our own analysis. So basically, we're staying connected to our partners in the federal intelligence community, but we're not just passive recipients anymore. We are active in the intelligence community, and we're active in terms of sharing our information and making sure that all the information that we get gets down to our folks, both the officials and the officers.
But Chief, that means you are, but the investigatory role is not something that Capitol Police is going to take on. That will still be reliant upon the FBI or DHS or other partners, right? So you may have the analysts, if there's an active plot, that the pursuit of those plotters, though, would be the FBI, not the Capitol Police. Is that correct?
For the most part, but I would say this, that when we get information about threats against Congress, that's a priority for us. And so we will take those cases and we'll run with them, Occasionally, the FBI helps us with those cases. Occasionally, Homeland Security helps us with those cases. But they have to prioritize things too. Our priorities are always the ones that are threats against Congress. So in some regard, we in fact are taking the lead role on some of these cases if they have to do with threats against Congress.
One last question. I know my time's expiring, but one of the things, I think we've gotten better, but we still have room to grow in terms of the intelligence community's willingness to share information on a regular basis. My hope, and can you speak to this for a moment, do you have interoperable systems so that you don't have to rely upon an agency, a partner to kind of brief you in person versus at least having some of your agents, analysts at a clearance level enough that they can real time get that intelligence that may be being looked at from the FBI or again some other agency that may even have a broader reach?
Yes, we do. I mean, we have daily intelligence briefings with our partners around the region. And as I mentioned, we are plugged into the FBI. We remain plugged into Homeland Security. We remain partners with everything the MPD is doing and Washington, D.C.'s Homeland Security. So we are absolutely connected and are speaking the same language and sharing information on a daily basis with all those partners.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Madam Chair.